What's cracking YouTube? My name is Neckpunch and welcome to episode 4 of Coteinn region Pokemon, a series where I take you through the region that I've designed and introduce some of the fake Pokemon that lie within. Today we're going to be looking at some of the regional variants of Pokemon you already know that can be found in the Coteinn region. I was so excited when Alolan forms were announced and immediately inspired with ideas for my own variants. So these ideas are a bit fresher and I've had heaps of fun making them. To find our first Coteinn form, we travelled to a little bay near Petalfall Town called Grey Shell Beach, a beach named after, you guessed it, the grey shells which constantly wash up on its shores. But these are not just any old shells, these are the remains of a Pokemon called Shelter. See, the Coteinn region is separated into two main island masses with some smaller islands around them, and Shelter thought to inhabit this stretch of ocean between the two main land masses. This stretch is called the Wild Sea, so named because of the ferocious Pokemon that live there and the terrifying stories they've inspired. You can bet the waters are teeming with Tentacruel and Sharpedo, but sailors also tell stories of another Pokemon, a Pokemon no one has seen or identified, but that boils the ocean and tears apart ships in an explosive rage. And the sad news for Shelter is that in this sea, it's at the bottom of the food chain. When a Shelter dies, its empty shell washes up on the beach and dries out in the sand, covering Grey Shell Beach in these empty grey husks. But every now and then, the spirit of a dead Shelter also finds its way to the beach, searching for the body it once had. It possesses the shells of its fallen brethren, creating an all-new form for the Pokemon. Shelter, the bivalve Pokemon. It is thought to be the spirit of a Shelter which has inhabited its companion's lost shells. There are those who believe the grey husks are actually possessed by the spirits of children who drowned. This variant of Shelter is a rock and ghost type. It hangs onto Skill Link so that it can even better utilize Rock Blast, but its other ability is Solid Rock, since Rock Ghost does have a bunch of weaknesses. And Shelter of course evolves into Cloyster, the bivalve Pokemon. Having overcome its past grief, its spirit now lurks deep within its fortress of shells, dreaming of revenge on the creatures which once made it their prey. Since it's no longer a water type, Shelter no longer evolves with a water stone. Instead, you've got to level up your Shelter with high friendship in order to evolve it into Cloyster. So there you have Coteinn, Shelter and Cloyster. Now let's head to the southern island of Coteinn. On the northwestern edge is an extremely acidic, volatile wetland called Stewpot Marsh. Despite its toxic nature, the marsh is home to many Pokemon, mostly poison and bug types. The marsh sits at the bottom of a rocky plateau where Machoke and Scraggy used to also make their homes. However, as their numbers grew, fights over territory became commonplace, and the weaker, unevolved and type disadvantaged Scraggy were forced down into the toxic swamp. In order to survive, they developed over time into poison types, giving us Coteinn Scraggy, the shedding Pokemon. Its baggy skin often fills with gunk, slowing Scraggy down and impairing its vision. However, its thick, sturdy skull helps it to hold its own. Given most of the Pokemon in Stewpot Marsh resist poison, when Scraggy evolves, it takes on a secondary type that allows it to become a dominant predator when it becomes Scrafty, the hoodlum Pokemon. Having lived and evolved in the toxic Stewpot Marsh, Scrafty has come to enjoy the sensation of swamp goo in its skin pants, to the point of carrying it into battle and using it against its opponents. Given its place in my channel banner, you can probably tell this is another of my favorite designs. My favorite part being the look on its face that's like, yeah, I know my pants are filled with swamp, and it feels good. And on that disturbing note, that's it for today's video. My question to you is simply, what ideas would you love to see for a regional variant? My biggest reason for putting these pictures and stories up on YouTube is to find people to get creative and kick around Pokemon ideas with. And a shout out to Scription Gaming, who always comments and hits me up with wicked ideas. Just for you, man, here's that Ice-type Rustler, because why not? So, let me know your best ideas in the comments, and until next time, my name is Neckpunch. Have a good one.